I just quit my job, sold and donated almost everything I owned, built a homemade off-grid tiny house on wheels, and drove across the country in search of raw land to pursue a debt and stress-free lifestyle. Not long ago, I decided to document and share the process in hopes to help, inspire, or simply entertain someone. Doing my best to share my realistic experience of this life-changing, purposeful journey. With little money and a decent work ethic, I'm determined to carve out a life worth fighting for. Hello, New Brunswick. Alright guys, if you watched my last video, if you watched my last video, we know that the logs were getting, it was getting a little too high for me to do anything for the log cabin. So it's Sunday, I made a trip to town. I'm just getting back to the property here, hopefully make it back there in one piece. But I'm completely loaded down to do the floor for the log cabin, so let's get it all, let's get back there, get it all unloaded and get it organized for Monday morning. I thought about milling with this white pine, and I don't think we could do that. You know, Douglas fir premium is a lot stronger, and I think I'm going to save the white pine and the other stuff for outbuildings. But for tonight, I'm just going to get everything out, ready to go tomorrow, get it tarped. Gotta love that 1/4 inch stuff. Look at this. Cracked Home Depot junk. That's what that is. A lot of junk. We'll make it work though. Just when you thought digging holes and pouring concrete was over. Well, good morning, folks. I got some good news and I got some bad news. Good news is, I just put a bunch of maple syrup in my coffee and I'm ready to go. Bad news is, I lost all my film from Monday. It's like 8 hours worth of filming and working. Basically what I did is I removed the huge rock that was in the middle here, put one concrete pillar in the middle of this log cabin. It's 4 feet deep with a footing, sonotube to this form. 5-foot rebar cage going through the whole thing. So it's solid. So the way I'm doing this, I call it the full send method. Not trying to josh around too much, but I leveled my board. I kind of eyeballed, a lot of eyeballing going on to see where it's going to lay out in the other corners. So first I just went along, hewed this. I just used the grinder to get a nice flat surface to keep the rim joist plumb. As I'm screwing it down, I'm just kind of using the level like this to make sure it's plumb, so the plywood that sits on top of it's going to be tight and joists will be straight. Main thing is, I'm going to use quite a bit of lags in these rim joists. I want it to be sturdy. I think the only spray foam is going to be in the little cracks around the floor so that it stays warm and nothing can get in and out. Ferns are turning brown. You know what that means. Oh yeah, this is the bigger one I got. The old Walmart framing hammer. Give it a whirl. I'll have to come back for the nails. Well, at least it's nice out. The nights have been like 50s, 60s, and hasn't been too bad during the day. I'm also using all 8-footers because I don't have a trailer and I couldn't really fit, I only have a 6-foot bed. Sweet. And then everything behind this is going to get spray foamed, which I usually don't want to do on a log cabin, but it's the only thing I can get in there, and it's going to expand and seal all that, so that's the only one that's going to get it. It'll be behind the rim joist. As you can see, this one is basically in between these two front logs, so good thing I got plenty of room. I can get foam up in there. Plenty of room for my bottom sheeting, subfloor on top. I'm just using all these Timberlock screws that I got. They're 6 inches. It's perfect for this, nice and solid. Well, thank you God, saving me later in the day. It's pretty nice when you get lucky. You put a couple chunks of wood under there to hold it up, hoping it's level. Turns out it was just the right amount. I was praying earlier, let me tell you. I was saying, God, please guide me today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all coming together. I don't want to jinx myself though. We all know how that goes, don't we? When I went to Home Depot, they had all the boards, the 8-footers that I was looking for up there, and they were pretty much mostly junk. I was putting them all to the side, going through getting the good ones. Went through the whole rack, or what was left of it, snagged the good ones, and then had them bring in more. The whole second batch that they brought in was like way nicer boards, so I'm using all the nice ones for the rim joists, basically. Alright, we are rim joisted out. Got a little sketchy on this last piece. Obviously, like I said before, ideally you want one full piece, but it's lagged into the logs, so it should be alright. I did have to shim this last one. I cut a little groove out in the bottom so this 3/4 can fit in there. And then hammered this down, hammered that down, screwed it in, leveled it. It's solid. It's all those games of Jenga that's paying off right now. I know it seems like a bit of a waste of pressure treated wood, and Could have done concrete here, but I reused the form that I used before, the highest one I had. And I cut all these in half so I can't return them. Got 4 bags of 80-pound bags of concrete extra, so I'm going to return those and just use this. This is actually kind of a nice buffer away from the concrete. Late night trip to town. I'm going to go to town and get spray foam tonight. That way we can get this floor done. I got to spray foam behind that rim joist a little bit and below it. Do all that before I do anything else. And I only grabbed 2 cans of it, so I should have grabbed more. And I bought stuff like this that I'm going to return. It was like 10 bucks, but I was going to put this, if I could make the logs flatter, I was going to put this in there. It's for like sill plates. Returning that, returning the concrete, getting spray foam. Good morning. Made a trip to the shed this morning to grab a bunch of these, got different size galvanized nails. Smaller ones. Some 4.5-inch spikes, maybe for the beam, just because. More galvanized. It's like 3-inch, 2-inch stuff. Leftover framing screws I had. Just grabbed kind of what I had in the shed. And all that was free at my last property, so I might as well use it up. So what I'm going to do first is finish filling all the gaps with spray foam. Make the beam in the middle. Start framing. I also got this huge box of framing nails. I'm probably, since this floor is going to be kind of exposed for a while, I'm probably going to use quite a bit of galvanized stuff. My floor is probably going to come up way over where this notch is, and that the logs taper, so it actually goes up over there. But my flooring, you know, I'll have my subfloor and then flooring, whatever I use, so it's probably going to cover up this notch, so that way this is sealed if I can't get to it later. If I can get to it later down there, I'll just cut the spray foam out and put in some nice chinking. So it's all spray foamed up. I know it doesn't look pretty. Once it dries, I'll just cut it off, cut it flush so everything can go in together nicely. While it's drying, I'm going to start building this beam in the middle, and then we can just do the floor joist afterwards, which should go pretty quick. Half of 132.5. When you guys got me? 66.25. Let's just measure it out and give it the old guesstimate. Now, instead of seeing if that's right or not, I'm just measuring both ways off my mark to see if it's center, in which it is. So we still got it, apparently. Not sure if you guys can see this, but this is my center mark. So since I have 3 beams getting squished together, which is 1.5 times 3, it's 4.5 inches. Half of 4.5 is 2.25. So I'll put 2.25 in the middle here, where my mark is. Then I'll mark 4.5 here. So the center of that wall was actually 66.25, and this one was 67. So I'm basically a 3/4 inch off because of the taper on the logs. It's kind of the trade-off of doing it this way. I mean, you could spend a ton of time getting everything perfectly square if you wanted to. And there are other ways to do it. This is just the way I'm doing it. I'm going to utilize some screws, bigger spikes, and regular nails for this beam. These are actually the screws left over from my camper skirting, so coming in handy. So I don't have any screws or any nails bought for this floor. I did buy a couple small screws for tacking the bottom of the plywood up, because it's going to be a pain in the neck nailing all that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that maple is turning colors already. It's going to look real pretty in the fall. I just wish it would last longer. So if you could see it, I just staggered all these so that it's a little bit stronger. Also, if anyone's in the market for a impact gun, she's a little low on battery and a little beat up, but I've had this since my first job in HVAC, which was probably like 15 years ago. I bought this used. The company I worked for, one of the guys I was working with, he was like, dude, buy used. I think I used CPO outlets or something like that back in the day. And it's Makita. It's the green and black one, which apparently has metal gears. I got a combo kit for like 100 something bucks probably. And this thing's falling off ladders, soaked, you name it, thrown off a roof, everything, and it still works. Impact guns, Makita impact guns are pretty good. I've also got these huge, like 4-inch spikes. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I think I might throw a couple into here. Now for the fun part. It's gonna be a tight fit. There we go. I kind of abandoned the center line on these because the taper of these logs, everything's different. So I just took my tape measure, kept squaring this up so that the measurements over here are pretty close and the ones over here are close. So everything about this is unconventional, but it just takes longer. I still have less than a 6-foot span on both sides, so this should be fine. Main thing is it's all level all the way around. It's sealed, it's solid, and it'll be a nice floor. Not so much square. Once we get up to the roof though, getting it square and level is going to be a lot more time consuming, I have a feeling. This isn't as crucial. Not too shabby. I got some paracord I could hook to this. Tie it to a stake in the ground like a tent. Do a bunch of those. Kind of make a nice runoff. If you guys see any black paws, stumble past that, let me know. Let me know. That'd be pretty creepy. Oh, come on, dude. I get my measurement and then I add like a 1/16 of an inch or a little bit more. So it kind of fits tight in there while you're nailing it. So I ended up getting one full piece in. Took a little bit, but there's a lot of things you could do to make this easier, like snap a line where all your joists are or whatever. But I'm just kind of sending it. Get this whole side framed. I think I might have to frame this side too so I can put this next piece up. I'm also going to stain this probably later on. Probably should do it before you put it up. Do as I say, not as I do, a wise man once said. Hey, can you guys pass me the other pack of screws, please? Never been so excited to start insulating in my life. And we're halfway done with it. Still got plenty of daylight. Plenty of daylight. There she goes. Oh shoot. That's tight. I got the whole bottom almost done here. It's supposed to be a little rain for an hour. We got a ton of dark clouds coming in. Covered the cabin up for now. can hear thunder. There's another one going across over there. Well, I was gonna try to keep going, but I think I can get it finished up tomorrow. It's already 6 o'clock and it's gonna rain for a little bit longer. It's hailing. It's a hailstorm. It's actually pretty dark over there. Good thing we covered it up and called it. Probably gonna have to go back out and pitch the tarp. It actually came down last night. I had to run out here in my skivvies and I had to scoop it all out by hand, throw it over the side, and then fold it over. The only other thing I'm going to have to figure out is the scaffolding for outside of the cabin for scribing the outside of the log. I also didn't check the game cameras last week in last week's video, so I did rotate them a little bit since then, but I'm going to have a bunch to go through, I think. So we'll check those quick and then start finishing this floor for this log cabin. Get back to building with logs. Haven't really seen any black bear around, even with the new grill we got. This cucumber's getting pretty big. It's taking over the garden like they usually do. No cucumber yet though. Pretty sure it's this cucumber. It might be squash. That's a weed, I think. Spinach, growing pretty healthy. This cherry tomato plant actually looks really good. This guy's starting to grow some arms on him. See if we can get anything out of it this year, we'll see. Definitely gonna do a way better garden next year. Got some fresh homegrown maple growing in here though. So all I gotta do today is, instead of cutting the plywood, since I made my joists, they're not actually 16 on center, they're a little tighter to try to get a tighter floor. I didn't cut my plywood, so I'm just adding blocking where it meets. You can see I did it over there already. And then screw it down to that. And I just got a piece here and a piece there to fill in. I'm gonna insulate everything with fiberglass. Before I do that, I'm gonna run spray foam on all the cracks, the seams. This actually came out really well. I'm really happy with it. This is the seam there, really tight for not being square. Looks pretty cool with the logs and then the regular lumber, not gonna lie. Can't wait to get this, I better get to work actually. Trigger sometimes sticks on this, it's a little sketchy. The Milwaukee Fuel skill saw. I did take it apart, pop out all these screws and stuff, pop the side off, and there's a little plastic piece with a spring for the trigger that gets stuck. It's kind of a weird design, but still works for now. Almost went through the plywood, except it's pretty sturdy. I probably wouldn't go through it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't go through sheetrock one time, going through the customer's ceiling. It's never good. Yeah, it was actually the first company I ever worked for. There was this little hole, we were working in the attic, little hole that wasn't plywood around the air handler in the attic that we were working around, and I was just working and just my foot went right through the master bedroom closet ceiling. Never did that again. Felt so bad. All the guys I was working with were like, "It's all right, buddy, he's not gonna fire you. Everybody gets one, all right?" Almost hit the camera. I actually didn't have enough plywood left over to fill those holes in one piece. So I went and checked the shed. I have a bunch of scraps in there, and actually I found a piece, same size plywood that fits for one piece. So keep your scraps. And this is 3/8 plywood I'm using on the bottom of the cabin, not 1/4 inch. I thought it was 1/4 inch. That's definitely a little bit better. 1/4 inch is pretty floppy jalopy. It's probably a little overkill, but just in case there's any warping or any kind of weird settling stuff that creates gaps. And I really don't want like ants or anything getting in here at all. And these seams are actually right tight up against each other. I just might as well give it a thin bead. I did all the way around because I had a little left in the can. I also had just enough screws to do the plywood on the bottom. And that's not like spacing it every 6 inches, you know, whatever they tell you to do. I mean, it is important to have your spacing right and stuff, but can't help but think some of that is just designed for you to spend more money. 6 sheets of plywood on the bottom, and it's going to be 6 on the top. Obviously got to trim it. It's a little less than 6 because structure is 16 by 12, and it's a little smaller because we started on the inside of the logs. It's actually really nice seeing that stuff, like a warm floor. That's all I could think of. Because the old camper over there, that thing, the floor is definitely cold in the winter. That's not a knife. That's a knife. It's actually an old duck knife used for cutting flexes and stuff like that for duck work. Pretty much all the tools I'm using are, most of them, are ones I had from in the trade. Beauteous. Yeah, 15 inches wide, 9 inches thick. So the way I frame my floor, actually, they fit really nice. When I cut these a little bit longer over here, so makes for like a snugger fit. Alright, Betsy Crocker. Let's get this floor sealed up. I got all the insulation down. My other camera died mid-shot, and I don't want to lose all that footage, so I got it uploaded into the computer right now before I film anything else. I am using this True Floor. I think it's 3/4 or whatever they call it, 23/32 or whatever. OSB board, so it's got this tongue and groove, so it locks the pieces together. And it's a little cheaper than like the nicer plywood stuff, I think, because OSB isn't that weather resistant. Apparently it swells a little bit. Oh, a little more. Here's the deal. I started off my first piece. I flushed it up with basically the rim joist, But since this isn't perfectly square, what I should have done is I should have brought it off that rim joist a little bit, because this other one, the log tapers down, tapers up actually, and I couldn't flush this second piece of plywood up with the first one. So it's a little off. Tried chiseling it out. I mean, I'd have to take out a lot more of the log, and it's not really worth it, because my plan was to stagger these. You know, I got an 8-footer there, shorter one here, and then have another 8-footer kind of overlap. So what I have to do is I'm just going to keep these same measurements all the way across. 8-footer, short one, 8-footer, so that these line up, because it's a little off. Then the last one, I'll just have to keep it short and get half of that rim joist. It's definitely better if you stagger your plywood, but in this case, I mean, the whole floor is bolted to the logs. Everything's solid, level, insulated, and sealed. So that's more important to me than square. That's it's kind of embarrassing to put a YouTube video out that's something that's not square, but if anybody wanted to do it like this is how you would do it. And then finish flooring, that's where I'll have to get creative and really square it up and do all that. So it's not even actually that out of square, it's just like, but it still throws it off a lot. Forgot my level all the way on top. It's the way she goes sometimes out here, you know. At least we got a sweet floor to walk on. $41.25. Don't forget that, guys. $41.25, right? I actually meant to pick up some 2x4s. I was going to make sawhorses out of them. Forgot. If it's one thing this floor is, it is level. I did screw up this little part here. I had to put a little strip in. There's a tongue on this side, and there's a groove on this side, and they lock together. So I accidentally cut off the groove side instead of the tongue side. Still went together fine. Barely any of a gap. Didn't make that mistake over here. You can see I kind of had to cheat. There's a little bit of the rim joist there showing, but it's sealed to the insulation. That's all that matters. Not much of a gap, just a little bit because of the logs. I'm happy with that though. It's definitely a pain in the neck, but it was worth it. Literally, actually. My neck's killing me from being underneath it. Believe it or not, the the underside went way smoother than the top because I screwed up on the first piece by not thinking ahead to the second piece. And then I'll probably, not sure if I'm going to put a little foam in where there's a gap just to kind of bring it up to floor level so I don't get sawdust and wood chips down in there. Might do that. I'm just glad it's insulated, sealed up, no chipmunks, no mice. We already got 16 inches of height and wall height. Plenty of logs to go, so happy. And like all my videos, I'm usually exhausted by the time I say goodbye, so we're gonna get back to building logs. I got a huge mess to clean up. I know this video wasn't like kind of like my usual ones, can be kind of horsing around a bit, but it was a lot of work and tedious stuff, and I just needed to get it done so we can keep building with logs. But we got her done, and I'm happy. And it's Friday night, and I gotta edit this whole video and try to get it out by Saturday. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and never give up. See you guys soon.